Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode recap and thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the FUNimation dub of episode 33 of Dragon Ball Super. We start this episode with the first match of the Universe 6 vs. Universe 7 tournament. Goku versus Botamo. He's the fighter who looks like Winnie the Pooh after an intense workout. Botamo actually demonstrates that despite his large size, he actually can be quite quick. He demonstrates this by bouncing himself, and he's ricocheting all over the area, kind of like a pinball. Champa then mocks Goku for being slow, at least at what he thinks he's being slow. And the Universe 6 Saiyan, and I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous video or if I accidentally left that out, but just in case, the Universe 6 Saiyan is voiced by Clifford Chapin. Now, he comments to himself that he thinks that the Universe 6 Saiyans are stronger than the Universe 7 Saiyans, though he's polite about it. He's not really rubbing it in like Champa is. And then we actually get to hear Botamo talk for the first time. He's voiced by Chris George, and he's saying to Goku how, "Oh, Champa told me you were weak, but I didn't think you were this weak," or something to that effect. But Goku reveals that in reality, he's just dealing with an upset stomach because of all the food he ate when they were on their way to the tournament. And he's trying to work it off a little, like he's doing a couple of stretches. But Botamo decides to lend a hand by shooting out energy blasts from out of his mouth. And it actually does help. That probably wasn't Botamo's intention, but he ended up helping Goku work off the upset stomach. So then Goku's ready to actually fight, but when he tries to land punches on Botamo, it doesn't seem to hurt the suspiciously similar looking Winnie the Pooh character. And Jocko seems to figure that Botamo has the ability to transport the impact of the attacks to an alternate dimension where it nullifies the attacks. Bulma questions him if this is really the case, but Jocko changes it from guaranteed to most likely answer. In any case, though, Vegeta tells him, "Use your head, Kakarot!" Goku takes that a little too literally because he tries to headbutt him. But then Goku gets the message, and he does manage to defeat Botamo by ring out. He actually drags him to the ring and throws him out. And with that done, that means Goku gets to fight the next opponent. So this tournament structure is notably different from the ones that we've seen back on Earth. So in this case, the fighter who wins the match goes on to fight the next opponent from the opposing team. So Goku's going to fight the second fighter of the Universe 6 team, and it turns out to be the person who's from the same species as Frieza. And we do find out his name. It's Frost. So keeping up with the cold temperature theme of that species, because all the characters named from that species are named after cold temperatures. Frieza, Cooler, King Cold, Frost. You get the idea. Then when Frost talks, Goku notes that his voice sounds very similar to Frieza's voice, and there's a good reason for that. At least in the FUNimation dub, it's the younger brother of Chris Ayers, Greg Ayers, who's playing Frost. Now, if you may recall, Chris Ayers is the one who took over as Frieza's voice starting in DBZ Kai. Greg Ayers actually was in the franchise before. He played Goldo in DBZ Kai, But this time he's playing Frieza's counterpart from Universe 6. So that explains the similarities in the voice. But Frost catches him by surprise, not just because of the similar voice, but he seems very polite and seems rather friendly. He actually shakes Goku's hand and says what an impressive performance he gave in the fight with Botamo. And then he addresses the spectators who are from Universe 7, saying that it's unfortunate that their meeting had to come in terms where they have to fight in this tournament. But he's confident that when all's said and done, they can all pat each other on the back and be civil sports people about it. And this baffles everyone because they're so used to Frieza. Now, with that out of the way, we start the fight, and Goku easily figures out that Frost actually intends to size up Goku's strength by playing around a bit and then gradually transforming to reach that. And Goku points that out. Frost concedes that, okay, and he's like, come on, show me your final form, is what Goku's like. And Frost claims he's reached his final form, but the form he's in looks a lot like Frieza's third form. And Vegeta even comments to himself that's not the final form. But Frost manages to fight Goku a little bit in this form, and while it's happening, the World Tournament announcer gives us a little details about what Frost is like. Apparently, he has his own empire, his own army like Frieza, but he leads it in the name of justice. He actually fights off the forces of evil. He saves orphans, and he's even won some peace prize, and he won it 3 times in a row, and this continues to baffle people who are like, really? How come they get the nice Frieza and we got the sociopathic Frieza? But then Goku calls out Frost that it isn't his final form and says to quit holding back. Then Goku transforms into Super Saiyan 1 to demonstrate that he's not fighting at his full either. Although Super Saiyan 1 isn't his best either, but... Now, Champa's surprised by this, and he turns to the Universe 6 Saiyan to ask him about what the transformation is. And we learn that the Universe 6 Saiyan's name is Kaba. Kaba, though, reveals he'd never seen this transformation before. He doesn't know anything about it. So, as another difference between the Universe 6 Saiyans and the Universe 7 Saiyans, the Universe 6 ones never heard of Super Saiyan before. Frost claims that the reason he doesn't like to use his final form is because the one time he used it before, he accidentally killed someone in an incident. But he's thinking, okay, you seem strong enough. You should be able to handle it. Then he turns into his final form, and as to be expected, it does look very similar to Frieza's final form. Not exactly the same, but similar. You can see that it's referencing the final form of Frieza. Now, they proceed to fight, but even with his final form's power, Frost still doesn't seem to be a match for Goku at Super Saiyan 1. And Goku's hoping that Frost should stand down or tap out because he doesn't really want to hurt someone as admirable as Frost any more than he already did. Frost says he appreciates the concern, but he must win this tournament so that he can gain Champa's support in his campaigns for peace. And then he manages to throw a punch at Goku, and based on his expression, Jocko seems to catch something. No one else makes the expression, and it's quick, but Jocko notices something. And then afterwards, though, Goku's not feeling well. He's acting all dizzy, tired, and it's very peculiar, but whatever it is, Frost manages to easily ring out Goku because of it, and the episode ends there. So I thought this was a fun episode. I thought Botamo had relatively speaking, it was a pretty unique moveset compared to what we usually see from the franchise, and I like the way he sounded. It kind of sounded like a posh teddy bear, but it was pretty fun. And this was where we did, but I think the main attraction was really more about Frost, and I liked the call they made. I liked that they got the voice artist for Frieza's younger brother is playing Frost. I really like that. In the sub version, Frost and Frieza share the same voice artist, but here they got siblings to play the two characters. Now, as for the subject about characters being voiced by the same person, like if they have a connection, like counterparts or siblings or other relatives, like say the offspring of a parent had the same voice as the parent did when they were the kid. My thoughts about that really vary more in context. Like there are certain situations where I think it's fine to give them the same voice. Other times I think that it's better to give them similar but not entirely the same. Like to continue with the Dragon Ball franchise as an example, I never really had an issue with Goku and Gohan's younger selves being voiced by the same person. But I do think it was a good call that Goten had a different voice, Kara Edwards, than either the young Goku or the young Gohan. And in the case of that, I think it's because Goku and Gohan's personalities are really different from each other. So I feel that the person playing them both was able to, whether it was Stephanina Donnelly from earlier on or Colleen Clinkenbeard as it is more recently, starting with DBZ Kai, I felt they were able to make the two sound distinct from each other. So I didn't really mind it. My exact thoughts of who I like better with the voice, that's another topic that I may or may not get into in the future. But in Goten's case now, it wouldn't be right to say Goten's exactly the same as Goku, but I feel the differences between Goku and Goten are not quite as prevalent compared to the differences between Goku and Gohan. So in that case, I thought it was a better call to give Kid Goten a different voice from young Goku and young Gohan. Now in the case of Frieza and Frost, I do like that call better. I do like that they got the Ayers brothers to play each Frieza and Frost rather than having one of them play both. I think that was a thing I liked better for this case because I think they do sound similar enough because they're brothers. I mean, people have commented that my brother and I do sound similar to each other, but we still do sound different. I think it's mostly the way we talk is different. But that's what I liked about here. Frieza and Frost sound similar to each other. You can get that they're counterparts of each other, but at the same time, they sound different enough where you can tell they're their own person or their own character. So in this case, this is an example where I feel it was a better call to give Frieza and Frost different voices, but I did like they got relatives to play them. Now, as for Jocko catching something, that's definitely building up to something. And yes, I do know what happened since I've kept up with tabs with what's going on in Super. But again, this is more so for people who are just following along with the dub. So if you have been watching the sub and you do know what's going to happen in the future, please don't give it away in the comments section. Don't give it away for anyone who's just watching the dub. That's my big request. Let them find out by watching the episodes in the way they prefer to. That's my big request to you, and I would greatly appreciate it if you honored that. So, with Goku out of the tournament, though, that's going to make people wonder. Now they're down to 3 fighters because Boo didn't get to partake because he fell asleep in the exam. So Universe 7 is at a real disadvantage. And how are they going to get out of this pickle? We'll have to find out if you're following along with the dub. And you know what I'm going to say. Please don't give it away if you've already seen it and subbed. So we'll catch you next week for Dragon Ball Super's dub episodes. Take care, and until next time.